The most important benchmark of how the cattle market is travelling is the Eastern Young Cattle Indicator compiled by the National Livestock Reporting Service. Now, this is a rolling average which includes Vela and yearling heifers and steers, grades C2 and C3, sold at sale yards in Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria. And it also includes cattle purchased for slaughter, restocking or lot feeding in Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria. Now, here's how the indicator has varied in recent years. You can see 2008 was a good year. Last year finished poorly, and although many producers might feel like it's not been such a flash season, the graph would suggest that so far 2010 has not been too bad. No doubt the rain plus sometimes the falling dollar, at least in recent weeks, has had some influence in keeping that indicator healthy. Now, last week the indicator slipped 2 cents in mixed trading. Strong competition pushed Jap ox up, and processors were also after the feeder steer market. Trade cattle was steady, but the cow market continues to weaken. Now, the live export trade looks set for some help from Egypt via that country taking some of the bigger cattle not allowed onto the boats to Indonesia. The Egyptian trade is re-emerging after being more or less shut for 4 or 5 years, and shipments have left recently out of the west and out of Townsville. But Darwin trade remains tough. Steers are in demand and so too are heifers, but there's no trade at all for cows or bulls. Now, the sheep and sheep slaughter numbers will help explain somewhat the price of mutton. The Eastern States June slaughter figure was 240,000, the lowest monthly number on record, and 51% below June of last year. And in contrast, available lamb numbers were up. While still historically high, lamb prices fell 8 cents, and mutton responded to the lack of numbers by rising 7 cents. Imported product continues to impact on the pig market, and there appears to be a lot of product heading direct to storage. Pork rates fell 4 cents, while bacon rates were also soft. Now to grains, and Australian domestic wheat prices reacted strongly to a rally on the American market. The US Department of Agriculture has forecast a massive corn crop and a smaller than expected wheat crop. In ASX futures trading, wheat for January lifted $13 in the West, while East Coast trading saw a $12.50 rise. And local spot markets were also very strong. Wheat at Newcastle, Geelong canola and sorghum out of Brisbane were all positive. That canola figure is against a background of an extraordinary take-up of GM canola in Western Australia. In its first permitted year in the West, GM canola accounted for more than 50% of plantings. Overseas now, and weather concerns in Europe and in the Black Sea region, plus the USDA report, pushed all markets north. Wheat went past the $5 mark for the first time in several months, while soybeans and corn also found support. In New York, buyers for cotton and sugar were playing the careful game. Cotton traders are waiting for news of future use for cotton, while reports of monsoon rain in India eased concerns about sugar supply. And wool had what might be considered a dull week price-wise, but Pro Farmer newsletter correctly points out with all its problems, the price of wool has held up pretty well over the past 12 months or so. The up and down exchange rate caused some headaches, and at the Thursday close, the Eastern Market Indicator had lost just over 1% to close at 888 cents a kilo. Finally, those hand-shorn bales of wool we showed you recently were auctioned last week.
You could hear a pin drop because normal shearing, you've got all those machines and it's quite a noisy. Here you could just hear the click, just like in the song Click Go the Shears Boys. People had tears in their eyes. It was quite an emotional thing to see that, and very proud to be here.
The blade shorn wool was taken from rams, shorn during a reenactment of the famous Tom Roberts painting of 1888. 117 shearers took part. The venue, the shearing shed at North Tupple Station near Tokemwell.
I'd like to offer you the opportunity of buying this bale and sending the message further up through the trade that the wool industry is alive and well, and we need this lift to the whole industry and the trade to see the industry go forward.
And here's where the wool was sold, at the Rodwell's Wool Store in Melbourne, where enthusiastic buyers went after bale number 1.
And 90, 21.90 out the back, 22 off it, 2010, 22.10. I mean 22.10 the money it's going to go. At 22.10 at its time. All done now at 22.10, done, bidding, quickly, all done at 22.10. Sold to Fox and Lily, well bought.
Proceeds from the charity bale went to the Red Cross. And that's the Landline check on prices.